This is the second lesson in the Introduction to Coding unit of work, and in particular today we're going to be looking at programming decisions. So what I want us to do is just remember how we can input values into Scratch, how Scratch will store those inputs in variables, and then how we can output values back to the screen. And I want us to understand how we can code our programs to make decisions depending on the different inputs that it receives. And what I want us to be able to do is to develop a chatbot which will respond differently depending on the answers that we, the user, supply to it. Now, when it comes to decision making, if statements are how programs make decisions. Now, they work by having a condition that they check. So if a condition occurs, so if something is true, then it's going to run a few lines of code, perhaps. Else, which means if that is not true, if that condition isn't true, it's going to run some other lines of code. So if-else statements allow programs to make decisions based on certain conditions occurring. So here's an example program in Scratch, and what it's doing is it's asking the user to enter how they're feeling and suggesting that they give a number from 1 to 3. Now, whatever they enter is going to be stored in the variable called answer, which is always attached to an ask script. And then we've got these if statements. Now, if the answer is equal to 1, then it's going to say, sorry to hear that you're not feeling good today. But if the user, instead of entering a 1, actually entered a 2, that means the variable would contain a 2 and not a 1. And if that's true, then the chatbot is going to say, so you're feeling okay, that's good. And if it's a 3 that's been entered, the variable would actually contain a 3 instead. And if that's true, then the chatbot would say, nice to hear someone else is happy as me today. So let's have a look to see how we can actually code a program just like this in the Scratch interface. So here we are in the Scratch interface. Let's see if we can produce a program very similar to what we just saw on that slideshow, but let's develop it slightly. So when the green flag is clicked, we are going to get our cat to ask us, how are you feeling? Too many E's. And we're going to suggest that instead of entering a number 1, 2 or 3, that they're going to enter the words happy, sad or okay. Now the answer variable is going to store whatever is entered as a response, and if we go down to control, we'll see that we've got these if statements here, this if block. I'm going to use an if else block this time, and I'm going to use this something equals something operator, and I'm going to say that if the answer is equal to happy, then I'm going to get my chatbot, let's do the right one, to say a message such as, glad you are feeling happy today. Now, if answer isn't equal to happy, let's do another check. Let's check a different condition. For example, let's check to see if answer equals sad. And if answer does equal sad, then we're going to get our cat to respond differently. Sorry that you are feeling sad today. And let's duplicate that again for another condition to be checked. So instead of answer checking to see if answer equals sad, let's see if answer equals okay. And we'll get the cat to say, so you are feeling okay. That's all right then. Now, this else block, we need to make sure that we have got something in here, which means that if answer isn't happy or sad or okay, then it will respond with a different message, so that if the user doesn't enter one of those 3 words, it will still respond as though it is listening to the inputs from the user. So let's get our cat to this time say something like, you didn't enter the correct word. And let's test our code. So let's bring our cat up slightly. How are you feeling? Let's type in happy. And the cat correctly says, glad you're feeling happy today. Let's test that again by entering sad. The cat says, sorry, you are feeling sad today. So that's worked. Let's test again by putting in okay. The cat says, so you're feeling okay. That's all right then. And finally, if I enter some other word, all right, the cat says, you didn't enter the correct word. So there's an example of how we can get our chatbot to ask a question and then respond differently depending on the answers that we give it. Have a go at creating your own chatbot which does a similar thing.